Keep a fire burning red in a Georgia representing of a comes hard here. You know. Big up Kidaki, Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like you know, like come son. Red.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. Now know what you can have in money. Money, never money, money, never money, money. You can keep, you can have in money. When you've been up for a bum, in a biz there be money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a biz there be money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. Now know what you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that we walk for. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that we walk for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. I know what you can have in money. Oh, Joseph.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Tom's TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruption over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Beep, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which as ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge knowledge run the front line. We go again. We got Bradford, Boycott, Mark Benchcop, David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam, Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London, Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow, Poor People Governor, Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson, Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Wyndham Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Come on. Well, this is Rolly, you know. I am here just to speak to my African brothers and sisters. Just to share a little word with you guys. We are all African. We are the ones who create civilization. We are the number one. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. No matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. Africa is calling, time for us to unite. A nation don't teach you right, will never treat you right, will never love you right. This song is coming from my heart, morning, day, noon and night. I can feel this loving vibes, my people, let's all start to unite. We are a people of a great race, money and violence pushing we face. Civilization must take back its place. For the black race, for the black race, in front your face, it got no taste, yeah. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. No matter where you're from, we are Africans. No matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. Be proud of yourselves, my people, know who you are. We coming from a distance and we coming from far. Our ancestors came and they die on the tar, while some of us got no with so many scars. This is a crime against humanity, while millions and billions die in slavery. A people without a knowledge of the past history, bound to go down, this is mental slavery. I am singing from near, I am singing from far. We are from a lineage with great superstar. I hoping for this message just reach one and all. I hoping for this message just reach so far. For all, no more back against the wall. For all, we are standing tall. For all, we stand up on the wall. For all, for all, for all, for all. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. We're the one who we are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, we're Africans, we are the defender of the black melanin. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. Africa is calling, time for us to unite. The nation don't teach you right, will never treat you right, will never love you right. This song is coming from my heart, morning, day, noon and night. I can feel this loving vibes, my people, let's all start to unite. We are the people of a great place, money and violence pushing these days. Civilization must take back its place. For the black race, for the black race, for the black race, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mama, I dedicate this song to you. Wherever you day, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Show Mama the love and adoration she deserves. Celebrate Mother's Day at Club Twilight with a special brunch for all the wonderful mothers. Enjoy a festive atmosphere, complimentary cocktails, and surprises starting from 11 a.m. Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call 6225933 and don't miss the opportunity to show Mama how much you love her.
Comes out your son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat. Comes out your son. Yeah.
Mama, I dedicate this song to you. Wherever you day, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Show Mama the love and adoration she deserves. Celebrate Mother's Day at Club Twilight with a special brunch for all the wonderful mothers. Enjoy a festive atmosphere, complimentary cocktails, and surprises starting from 11 a.m. Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call 6225933 and don't miss the opportunity to show Mama how much you love her. Morning, neighbor, morning. Them not like me conniving, morning. Oh, you know, it's the 1st of May. Happy new month. Oh, yeah, I survived the last month. I saw a woman talking the other day, last evening, perhaps on Facebook. She said, if you're working for $2,000 a day, you can't cook home, you know. It's quite expensive to cook home. It's easier for you to go and buy a food on the road, even if you got to pay $1,500 for it. Right? How y'all making out? How y'all passed last night? How y'all passed yesterday? Yesterday was Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. Come to think of it, Dr. Hines should be on. Sometimes when you get into the holiday feeling, you just forget how we're supposed to be doing. Let's see if Dr. Hines had enough patience to stay. Yaga. What a thing, what a thing. Morning, neighbor, morning. Neighbor, morning, are you morning? How was it last night? How was it yesterday? You make some money? Do you think that you were able to improve your quality of life by your efforts under this Janko? Yaga. Well, morning. Yeah, it's Labor Month now, 1st of May. I got some things to tell y'all, but We're going to talk about it later, don't worry. Let's see if Dr. Hines is on first. Yes, the good doctor is there. Dr. Hines, good morning. Hello. Well, I won't blame him if he left. At least he left the app sign in to say, well, I was here and you weren't. Not that I didn't want to be. I just forgetful, man. Sometimes it happens. So yeah, morning is Labor Day. What y'all doing? Today, Labor is going to be out in its glory. They're going to be marching up and down the road. And they will be singing Solidarity Forever. Solidarity Forever. The union makes us strong. Which union are you talking about? Which union you're talking about in Ghana? The Ghana Public Service Union ain't making nobody strong. Yeah. Ghana Public Service Union ain't making nobody strong. Patrick Yard is weak. Right? They say once a man, twice a child. As you age, your body, the tissues, your body, your muscles, and everything become weak. And so Patrick Yard certainly is displaying that weakness as head of the Ghana Public Service Union. The man don't utter a word when this government is misbehaving. Right? But solidarity, the workers definitely need solidarity. You're going to see movements in my background and so on, and you might hear some noise and things. And that is one of the reasons why I maybe just absent-mindedly didn't come on in time for Dr. Hines for us to chat. I totally forgot, seriously. I was contemplating whether or not to do this morning's program because the environment is not necessarily going to be as conducive as is usually necessary. Yeah, I like mind business, so let's tell you how what happening. They're installing air conditioners in Club Twilight. Like I said, we want you to get the best atmosphere and experience in Club Twilight in Buxton. Arguably, Club Twilight is the most upgraded, up-to-date facility venue in Buxton. It's no idle boast. You come, you get comfort, ambience, you know, yeah, look good, smell good. Prices are good. And consistently, the management continues to try to improve so that you can, quote unquote, get the Georgetown experience in Buxton, right? City experience in the village. Yeah, Buxton was a premier village and still, in my mind, is a premier village. And so we have to continue to strive to improve what we offer our residents and what we offer our visitors. Good? And we should do that for our country too. But when you look around you, especially in the Garden City, the capital city, you can't be convinced that we're making those efforts to improve on what we offer to our visitors and our residents. Why? Politicalisms and schisms. People are fighting for control. And in order to get control, they believe that it is necessary to scorch the earth. That's the policy of the PPP, scorch the earth. Run down everything, broke down everything. And when they don't run down and broke down,
campaign for control of it. Right? We're going to break up GPL and then we're going to say GPL should be privatized because the country, the public service, government workers are not doing a good job to keep GPL working and working efficiently. Right? Our rundown GPC and tell you the same thing. That is why they have to sell it out. You run down a lot of state entities and say that is why we have to privatize it. It is not that real efforts were made to fix these entities. But people just tell themselves, hey, these are money bags we're watching at, you know. If only we can get them into the hands of private people who are on our side. Private people who will front for us. Right? And that's what you're living in this country. Every time I talk about these things, I look at what happens with Gaiwa. For all of the years, the PPP and the PPP's men couldn't fix Gaiwa. The quality of water citizens were getting. And in under 5 years, shout out to Van West Charles. Van West Charles, when he was made CEO of Gaiwa, quickly turned around the quality of water citizens were getting and the consistency with which they were getting it. The pressure with which they were getting it. The water became clear, odorless, potable or potable. You were getting water to at least your first floor without the use of an electronic pump. All of those things happened when Van West Charles was CEO. Areas that were never served by Gaiwa in terms of water provision, those areas were served. Areas that never had pump or well, that's the correct thing, yes. Areas that never had wells. Wells were dug. And so citizens' quality of life was being improved because there was a will to improve the people's quality of life and not to steal their resources for personal enrichment. So there was a will and people worked on that bill. I remember the guy would brought on board an app because this is the modern time. This is the digital age. This is when people use apps. All you have to do is take a photograph of where the leak was and send it to a particular WhatsApp number. Photograph is usually geotagged and guy would find the location and fix it within hours. Leaks were happening, but they were being fixed quickly. Because why? Well, Charles is a medical doctor, so he understands the importance of healthy water and how poor quality water can impact people's health. And if you have broken mains, leaking mains, then all kinds of bacteria will get into the water mains and contaminate it. So emphasis was placed on fixing leaks. Not anymore. I don't even know if that app still works. How many of you have tried reporting a leak to Gaiwa in recent times? And how many days did it take to fix? I remember a resident of Den Amstel. A resident of Den Amstel sending me a video of a leak in the area, and it was washing away the road. I wonder how long it took to fix that leak. Right? I really wonder how long it took to fix that leak. So the naysayers, when you complain or when you highlight these things, they say you're bad-minded and you're this and you're that, and the government can't do nothing to please you, and everything you're complaining about, and so on and so forth. But the reality is, unless we identify, unless we highlight these issues which are plaguing our society, we can improve the society. We're now holding government accountable.
Yes,
right?
Let me back once again, yo. This is what I'm speaking about.
And so,
what's going on here?
as a good question says to me and my house,
all the way.
we'll continue to serve you because we'll continue to bring you
away from the center. All this is water wasting.
Look at that.
After the water pressure so slow by me, look at it. And is it here? And I'm going to the center. I'll show you all the work that they try to remedy. This is it all the way. So the water wasting how much thousands of gallons of water going to be sick today. And since when I meet you this morning, how much water waste already? Look at this. Look at this. All the way. Nobody can't come to the office up here. Nobody call up these people. Come on, man. The resident in the area not fit, man. The resident didn't do nothing. They didn't say nothing. They do nothing. They're supposed to call up and what's not already, man. This is
a leak that is not fixed on time is a leak that will cause taxpayers pain. It will mean the expenditure of funds that could have been used otherwise to improve the quality of life by the government. It means that the health will be threatened. And so it's important to have these things addressed in a timely manner. You see the damage, the water damage there. You see where the leak is. But look around the area from the video and you'll see how much water damage is taking place. In short order, the street that is being soaked by that water, like the viewer said, thousands of gallons of water, will have to be resurfaced because it's been undermined. But they come here and they tell you, don't blame the government. Don't blame the government. Who is responsible for the management of our resources? Who is responsible for the administration of the country? Who should I blame? Who must I blame? Until such time that we can see issues for what they are and address them for what they are and acknowledge them for what they are, we ain't going nowhere as a people. We're not growing as a people. And those that are controlling the resources in government will continue to ensure that we don't do as a people. They will continue to put spokes in our wheels so that we don't go as a people. Let me tell you this. Right now, as I speak to you, today is the 1st of May. Y'all see Miranda Brown on the live? Miranda, if you're present, show yourself. Because I doubt Miranda is present. Because Miranda, as we speak, might be traveling to PPP's Congress. They got Congress. It starts today. But it doesn't interest me that the PPP has Congress starting today. The PPP's Congress is going to be from the 1st to the 5th. From Labor Day to Arrival Day. Right? You know what concerns me? Even as we are speaking, right? Even as we're speaking, policemen and women are in line. You know what it is to be in line? Huh? To be in line is to be, let me call it, right? The barracks. So they are keeping policemen and women in line for the next 5 days at least. Why? Because the PPP has Congress and the Guyana Police Force has to protect those who will be attending Congress. Had it been the PNC, had it been Fox Burnham, you would have heard what? Paramountcy of the party. State resources are being used for party events. And I'm not talking, as they say, with water in my mouth. I know what I'm saying. Do you think that the members of the Guyana Police Force, the ranks of the Guyana Police Force, are in line only in cases of a breach of the peace, to respond to that breach of the peace at the PPP's conference? No. Public assets like police vehicles, minibuses, etc., police transportation, government assets will be used to facilitate the hosting of the PPP's Congress like this. If the PNC were to host its Congress and the PNC has meals being prepared at Uaha, they would have had to hire transportation to transport the meals from Uaha to the place where Congress is being held. If they wanted to ensure that their meals were being prepared under safe and hygienic conditions, they would have had to have trusted lieutenants present in those kitchens to ensure that the meals are properly prepared and prepared safely. Who is tasked with that as we speak? Members of the Guyana Police Force. Members of the Guyana Police Force have to be providing security services at those locations where the meals are being prepared, and I can name the locations because I know them, right? They're mostly on the east coast of Demerara, in those areas where 47 ballot boxes were found without supporting documents. And so the meals are being prepared in that particular geographic space, let me call it that. Ranks of the Ghana Police Force are providing security to those locations. You want me to tell you more? You want me to go in depth with the security detail? Some you will see, some you will not see. That doesn't mean that they're not there. Good. So state resources are used to facilitate the PPP's Congress. Ranks have to provide security service, ranks have to transport the food, ranks have to guard the food, ranks have to guard the venue where the Congress is being held. Can you assess the cost for such security operation for the next 5 days? It is going to run us into hundreds of millions of dollars, I dare say. Because if ranks are in line, when you're in line, the force has the responsibility to feed you. And that's only one resource that will be utilized. There are lots of other resources that will be utilized when you're in line. Paul Stowe might know might know the long list of resources that will be used. Ranks who are providing security service, many of them will be doing overtime. Vehicles running up and down the road to provide services to the Congress will be utilizing fuel, not to mention wear and tear. So the Guyanese citizens, even as I speak with you this morning, the coffers are bearing the brunt. They're carrying a high price because the PPP is hosting its Congress. But those who are here will tell you, don't talk about it. Because it's we time now. Right? It's we time now. But one has to ask, why is it that the PPP has to be so gung-ho on putting the security service in line, the police force in line? Of being so concerned about security and safety. While they host their Congress, they say, do no evil, fear no evil. Do no evil, fear no evil. So is it a display of fear? We know that we have not been good to the Guyanese citizens, and the possibility is somebody is going to want to take a shot at us. Huh? Talk to me. Talk to me. Jan Daniel is asking if this is the only government in power does this. I can't answer, Jen. I don't know. I didn't make it as a study. I didn't make it a scientific study. Did you make it a scientific study? Does the United States of America allow its resources to be used for partisan reasons. When the Democrats are in government, do they get the opportunity to use the state's resources when they're hosting the congresses? When the Republicans are in office, do they get to do that? I know the US has electoral financing laws and so on where you have to declare, excuse me, where your sources of finance coming from for you to contest elections. I know that. And I know abuse of the people's resources will land you smack dab in jail. And we like to reference the US and we like to reference North America and Europe. And so those are standards to aspire to. Those are standards to aspire to. Why can't we aspire to those standards? Right? But you see, we have this partisan nature. We have this ethnic allegiance that because it is being done by one of us, we must not call it out. I want a woman, let me get a free pass. You know, I do the right thing, but I want to not let we talk. Because you go make we look bad. And so from 1, it goes to 2. And then it goes to 3. And next thing you know, you got a whole crowd of people doing the wrong thing. And it becomes uncontrollable. And then it becomes the norm. And people sit in silence because when you talk about it now, it appears as though you're a hater. And nobody wants to be a hater. You're a coach. Nobody wants to be a coach. But I like talk. And I will continue to talk because I'm talking for better governance, a better quality of life for the citizens. And so telling them people at the Buxton Falls NDC, y'all got a lot of lawlessness happening in this place. Y'all best get it fixed. I'm going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to talk about it. Y'all got to fix it, man. David Jones and Chairman Martins and Marcia, who is his name? Darcy. Here. It happening right under y'all eyes. They're right next door. Y'all so blind, y'all can't see it. Y'all can't see that the laws, the bylaws, the local government laws and so on are being infringed upon. Yeah, people got progress. People got to make a bread. But you have to make a bread within the confines of the law. So Buxton Falls NDC, hint to Kwashiba make Bashiba take notice. Right? Right by your doorstep. Because if it continues, I'm going to talk about it and you're going to vex. Prasad say you're just wasting people's time. Yeah. We got time to waste. Let us waste it on the PPP and the misbehaving government. You notice this morning's headline? We're still laboring. Yes, Ian Williams, when you talk about it, you're victimized. But you're going to allow that to stop you from talking about it? Because if you allow that to stop you from talking about it, then expect several other generations behind you going to be victimized. And they're going to curse you and say you're the fault because you didn't do anything about it. Dana Colley and residents of Friendship and Buxton and so on, they stopped the governor train. They stopped the governor train. Pregnant women and so lie down, stand up on the train line and say, hey, we are sticking for this nonsense taxation without representation and that kind of thing. No, we end up on that. Because if we allow that to happen, our children will have to bear the burden in the future, and we ain't gonna depend on that. Critchlow, you were Nathaniel Critchlow, the father of trade unionism. I wonder if Thakur, Pasado, whoever he named knows that. It's Labor Day, and that's why I say we're still laboring. The trade union fraternity in Guyana and the Caribbean is very old. Can't tell you the age. I'm going to research it to tell you exactly. Right? Then sit by and say, if I talk and I'm going to get work as a Stevie though. If I talk, they're going to victimize me. Critchlow spoke. Critchlow acted. Critchlow gave birth to trade unionism. Guyanese workers get represented. Today, the PPP is fighting to destroy unionism. Thank God to Justice Sandel Kisuni say, strike is the union's ultimate weapon. The PPP doesn't like that. They ridicule him because why? They expected him to display ethnic preferences. Or is what are we? Let them do what they like. The government look like us. Or I look like the government. Let them do what they like. And then you get a runaway train named the PPP. You have to stand up when you see wrong things happening. Wrong things will happen. It's human beings we're dealing with, but we can stop it in the track. We can stop it before it gets too bad. And so we're still laboring because we have in power an anti-working class party. Many used to believe that the PPP is pro-workers. The PPP has never, in government, displayed an attitude that suggests that it is pro-workers. Let's go back from 1992, when the PPP took office. Right? From 1992, when the PPP took office. Well, let me tell you this. In 1989, a strike restored collective bargaining power to unions. Right? In 1989, strike restored collective bargaining to unions. But imagine in 2024, and in 1989, the PPP was in government. Let us not forget that. Right? In 1989, the PNC was in government in 1989. This dictatorship party, this party that was so corrupt, and this party that had no respect for workers and so on, in 1989, they were in power. And through strike action, collective bargaining was restored. In 2024, Guyana Teachers Union had to go on strike for collective bargaining to be respected under the PPP. And I dare argue restored under the PPP. The courts, thank God to Justice Sandel Kisoon, has sanctioned the PPP government and say, yeah, go back to the table. Collective bargaining should be respected. Not in those words, but that would, the ruling basically said that. Has the PPP respected that? No. We go into court, we go and challenge this ruling. Several weeks after the ruling, have you seen the PPP going back to the table? No, they ain't going back to the table. Right? The British Guiana Labour Union was founded in 1919. Y'all do the maths. How many years is that? In 2024, 1981 is 20. Looks like 105 years or something. 105 years. British Guiana Labour Union was founded in 1919, emerging as a labor union amongst black dock workers, led by Hubert Critchlow. Soon expanded into colony-wide labor movement. British Guiana Labour Union was not the first trade union in the Caribbean, but was the first to be legally registered. Right? Here is a 2014 letter to the editor. It's headline, now the PPPC is in office, they no longer fight for the rights of the sugar workers. Right? After the 1992 elections, the rallies that had been held in West Berbice and Labor Day were stopped. Workers were abandoned and had no way of reaching their leaders, both PPP and GAU face to face. The rights of the workers were no more as GAU continued to have a relationship with the PPP and started to sleep in the same bed with the PPPC government. Right? One can say the same in a general way. That once the PPP got into government in 1992, they were never pro-workers. They were never pro-labor. They're pro-party support. So the attention that they're giving to workers in the sugar belt, that attention is based on political support. That attention is based on political support. They're not supporting labor for the sake of labor. You check from 1992 to current, anytime public servants especially were to be given an increase in wages and salaries and improved standards of work, conditions of work, they had to fight tooth and nail for it. They had to go to arbitration. Remember the Armstrong Commission and all of that? That is how public servants were granted what one might consider a meaningful increase in wages and salary under the PPP. And they never honored all of the recommendations of that commission. Never. Not until this day have they honored it. Here we are in 2024. Same attitude. Workers have to fight tooth and nail to get what they justly deserve. So we're still laboring under the PPP. We have more resources. But we're still laboring under the PPP. to get just wages and salaries and improve conditions of work. It's 2024. We're still building school buildings as open rectangular boxes, rectangular structures, open floor plan. Classrooms are not individualized. We're still using chalkboards. Teachers still are operating in staff room with little or no furniture. Desk tables without tables with dilapidated tops and chairs, dilapidated chairs and so on. Here I'm going to call this one by his name, Jackass Permanent. Jackass Permanent says the only wage increases under the APNU was the MPs. I'm convinced this chap dead, brain dead. In the short time the APNU spent in office, they were able to increase workers' salaries by over 100% as far as I remember. Maybe 200% for all you know. Because when they got their workers were getting an average of $35,000 a month. By the time they left, they were getting in excess of 100,000 or close to 100,000. And this jackass, a complete jackass, comes here to tell us that the only increases in wages was to the MPs. The PPP MPs benefited from those increases too, and they had promised that they were not going to take it, they were going to return it to the coffers. Remember that? Have they returned it to the coffers? As a matter of fact, under the coalition, the agreement was after this increase, ministers of government will not get another increase. So as we increase the wages and salaries of the public servants, I don't expect anything. But check, every increase that is given to public servants in this country, the PPP MPs are getting. Yeah, every increase, even the 6% that they get them. Even the 6% that they give them. The PPP MPs and ministers got. Come on, man. Continue shifting the goalpost, Permanent, the jackass. You guys are ridiculous, expecting all these improvements to be done overnight. You all expected the coalition to do so much overnight without all money, while fighting a no confidence motion. But here we are shifting the goalposts. Why you all expect the PPP to do so much? Because we've seen them do a whole lot for themselves. Don't you see that? While Permanent hasn't addressed me talking about the PPP misusing state resources for its Congress. Is not something worthy of talking about, Permanent? Where your conscience there? Huh? But then your lower exterior, anyhow. Where your conscience there? I heard a video the other day of a reporter, perhaps from Kaicho News, asking the Barlet tyrant, if he could live on $80,000 a month. Instead of addressing the issue, he ranted and raved about people wanting to know his personal business. And he don't tell people his personal business. I know when was PNC time, they told all the money that the country is making. And that's what they want to do now. At least they were giving the citizens the money to eat out, apparently. But in this society right now, only the PPP eating out the money. I see Sherrod was showing what was happening in Mabaruma, I think. A multi-million-dollar road that was built and the steel's big and fat out of the concrete road. Right there in Plaisance. I told you all are going to video road in Plaisance sometime. It's not a month since the road built. They declare it finished today, and a day or two after it started crumbling. Address the ownership not. Y'all ain't got no conscience. Y'all ain't got no ethical bone on which to stand. We still laboring. And unless we get rid of the PPP, we ain't gonna get value for we labor. We ain't gonna get value for we labor. Let's talk about that. The lines are opened. 6225923 is the number to call. And let's tell y'all something. I might just have to get up from here suddenly, shut the program down and hit the road. I got a lot to do. But I'm waiting on people to call me to get it done. Right? So you might not have a full, you may go to 9 o'clock. Perhaps I will try to get there, but all things are possible. The lines are open. 6225923 is the number to call. We're still laboring under the PPP. They're still misusing our resources to host Congress. Our servicemen and women are in line as we speak because the quote-unquote dignitaries, I don't know what dignifying about them, at Congress have to be protected. And the food, the preparation of the food has to be monitored. You see, they're concerned about what they eat. But when they were selling their supporters barbecue, they weren't concerned. Supporters were paying their hard-earned $2,000 to buy barbecue. So they didn't concern about the quality nor quantity that they gave to them. But they're concerned about the quality and quantity that they're getting for the Congress. Call it live.
Hello, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning.
Good morning to
I
you.
call in concerning an incident that's going on in Madio. Now, if the maids at the hospital taken to clean the hospital, they taken these maids and put them to clean out of government buildings. That these government workers come in, there's nothing in the building. If they spend 2 years in the building, just the building, they're dirty, the fridge dirty, all over dirty, putting these people to clean it. Fine. Now, they're having drivers because these drivers are straight. Even these drivers, $30,000 on their pay if they call them out of their bed to take a patient to the hospital or go anywhere for a patient. Why they cannot do the same thing for the maids? Give them $30,000 on their salary. Now they get malaria workers going in all the various baths, risking their life where they could drown in Canaruka River and where they could drown because the waters raise here when rainfall. The motorbike is taken up, the vehicles taken up. Them are raising these people pay because them as black people. Why they can't give these people $30,000 on their salary a month? so that these people could go and do what they has to do. Which these people are supposed to go in the fields. There's not taken on no fields assistance. They having a lady at the office, their personal officer, she taking on no black people, she Ramayan people. The few black people that working, doing the dog work, they are treating these people, Mr. Kadoki, like real dogs. Now, what is right here get option to do? The black people don't have option to do. Why is it going on in Region 8? I need Norton and Chevron down for them to come to Region 8 and also you and see what is going on the ground here. Fine. They have some mosquito nets sharing out for malaria. Malaria is rampant and mad. You know what these people saying? Frank Anthony got to come Friday for share out the mosquito net. These things are, you could see plainly where the politicalness going on, where PPP is political. Mosquito net got wait for a minute to come for share it out. Since when? What happened to the supervisor? Since when? Mr. Kadoki, thank you for listening.
Thank you for calling. It's called political silly season. It's campaign season. It's silly season. We have a few months from elections. It's silly season. So mosquito net ministers have to spend taxpayers' money to travel by aircraft to go to Northwest or wherever, Nabaruma, with an entourage to distribute mosquito nets in 2024. I am positive that the amount of money that will be expended to get to Maburum or wherever to distribute those nets will be far above the cost of those nets. But jackass like Shivnath don't recognize that. They can't understand that. Because they got their head so high up in Jaguar's backside. They can't even recognize this. But the problem is Kidaki Amsterdam and Sherrod Duncan and Mark Benschop and Whitford Burke and David Hines and so on. Yeah. That's where the problem is. Not with the way your friends and cronies in government are misusing the nation's resources. Right? If when Biden uses Air Force One to travel to another state for a campaign rally, the Democratic National Committee has to pay for the cost of that flight. Not the state. That's law and order. That's respect for the nation's resources. When Frank Anthony chooses to jump on an aircraft privately chartered from the National Security Advisor Govile's company, you recognize conflict of interest anywhere there? Taxpayers' money going to pay for it. But we don't have a problem with that, do we? No, we can't have a problem with that. It's we time now. It's we time now. PPP time now. Let them enjoy this week. I got some voice notes.
Good morning, Mr. Hines. Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. You know, the teachers that Ali invite to meet him, is Bribey trying to bribe them, but the teachers must stand their ground. You're going to give me land, I'm going to take it, but they ain't going to vote for you, because if I vote for you, you're going to continue to oppress me, right? They vote for him, they're going to continue to oppress the teachers, so the teachers got to stand their ground. Yes, if you give me land, I'm going to take it. So the teachers got to make sure don't make the government control them. You have to know who you want to vote for to make your life better. Guyanese, don't fall into the trap, because this is what they're doing, bribing people. Y'all be careful, because this election that coming is a lot of money going to spin all over the place. So be careful, Guyanese. Bye.
Thank you for that voice note.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning to your listening audience. I think this government is very wicked and spiteful towards Afro-Guyanese. Because just imagine, our teacher is the mind molder. Our teacher is the second parent that preparing our children for the future. Our teacher is like a doctor, a lawyer, a mother, a father, a pastor to our children. And Jagdeo Hat and Ephraim Ali and Nandilal and all them have to remember that they had a teacher that mold their mind to become the future leader of Guyana. And I don't see the reason why they just tag.
You ready? All right. Where am I here? Good, cool. Thank you for that voice note. You're still tuned to the Guyanese morning time. It's Labor Day morning. It's the 1st of May. I'm thinking possibly later in the day, once the time permits, we will sit and we will have some chat about labor. We'll be following, I wish I should say, to follow the Labor Day March and so on and so forth, so you guys can be informed. Good? Listen, it's time for me to go. I have to go. It's 24 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. It was nice being here. A shortened version of the program, but I'm sure you're more informed. And I'm sure you're going to continue to look out for the PPP and the friends as they misbehave. If time permits, I'll be back on a little later in the day. And I'll be coming to you with a magazine program then. We're going to play some music. We're going to listen to some music. We're going to share some thoughts. We're going to share some videos. We're going to talk about the Labor Day parade and so on and so forth. Right? Sorry for shortchanging you. It happens sometimes. Days like these, I get to do the most. Right? So, peace out. We'll talk. Let me remind you to go over to TikTok. Look for me, Kidaki Amsterdam. Follow me on TikTok because the aim is to be able to broadcast on TikTok soon. Much love. Bye-bye. How I do them.
Mama, I dedicate this song to you. Wherever you day, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Show Mama the love and adoration she deserves. Celebrate Mother's Day at Club Twilight with a special brunch for all the wonderful mothers. Enjoy a festive atmosphere, complimentary cocktails, and surprises starting from 11 a.m. Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call 6225933 and don't miss the opportunity to show Mama
how much you love her.
Come.
Morning, are you morning? Morning, are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is now 7 hours 30 on the second day of May in the year 2024. This year is going. It's going and it's going quickly. Like even the even nature, I should say, can't stand the PPP for much longer. So they're fighting to get them out of here. Elections are next year. Morning, are you morning? How are you been? How was yesterday? What are you do for your Labor Day? How many of you labored? I have a brother who was born on Labor Day. And at one point in time, we used to say, this man lazy, this man born Labor Day, this man don't like work. But he came of age. And he's gainfully employed for quite a while now. Yeah, how many of you were born yesterday? Happy birthday to those of you who celebrated your birthday yesterday. What did you do? What did you achieve? Hi. Yeah, so the answer is no. Good. Later. And before somebody asked to say, well, the last time I heard strange female voice, that was my son I was talking. Yes. Thank you, Savitri. The background, it's in Club Twilight still, you know, we're still broadcasting from inside Club Twilight. I'm actually sitting in the VIP lounge. So they can ban the prime minister or former prime ministers from using VIP lounge, but they can't ban any of them from using the lounge at Club Twilight. Good. We got things, as they say. So yes, I'm in the VIP lounge at Club Twilight. So yeah, that background you're seeing there is Club Twilight, and that is where you should come and have your Mother's Day brunch. It's only $6,000 a ticket for the Mother's Day brunch. So come on down. It's going to be fun. Lots of surprises. Complimentary cocktail. Come on down. It's going to be good. You know, you can also order lunch baskets, right? Yes, lunch baskets are available at $10,000 each. 50 US. A small price to show your mother or a mother that you care and they're counted. Right? So you can place your orders. You can call me right on 6225933 and I'll do the link up for you, the hookup. Right? Good. Likewise, in the same beautiful environment, if you have a wedding to host, birth anniversary, marriage, wedding anniversary, anything, any social event you want to host, the hall is available, Club Twilight, restaurant, bar, and lounge. Yes, you can rent it. It's available for rental. It can come with or without furniture, with or without music. There's a projector overhead. There's overhead projector. There is a television, smart TV and so on. So there's so many possibilities. You're hosting a conference. You don't have to be trudging things along the way. You can get all that you need right here at Club Twilight, including table covers and sashes and everything, you know. You just have to plan the event and have them put it together for you. Good? Of course, everything comes at a cost, but it's not going to break the bank because they want you to celebrate, not moan and be depressed about how much it costs you. It doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. Right. Good. So what went on yesterday? What y'all do? Y'all tell me a story. Now, anybody made some extra money? I mean, with all the marching and so on going on out there, somebody might have been alongside with a cool-on cart or two catch in the hand. Good. With that heat out there and marching and so on, people have to stay rehydrated. While I suspect the unions would have provided refreshments for their members, members usually want something outside of what the unions are providing. So was somebody pushing a car there selling some Banks beer, GT beer, beverages of some sort? How many of you went and burned your money last night? How many of you went to burn a boy and burn up your money? Huh? I'm just curious. I like to know these things. I also like to know we hold our government accountable. And so there's some things I intend to talk about this morning. In the name of holding the government accountable. Y'all find Miranda Brown yet? No, because Miranda Brown is still at Congress. Congress goes until the 5th of May. Those of you who have police wives and husbands and children and so on, were they able to come home starting yesterday? I doubt it, because they're in line. They got to protect the PPP Congress. Right? They have to protect the PPP Congress. They have to protect the place where the food is being prepared. There are several of those, at least 3 locations where those food are being prepared. They have to protect their foreign dignitaries. There are several of them who came. They have to protect current ministers and operatives of the government, because they know they have done so much wrong to the Guyanese people that they can't, or they don't feel comfortable walking around them freely. Right? So those policemen are in line. That's where they are, in line. We're misusing state resources. Yeah, Ron is right. You see, as politicians and political activists and social activists and so on, you have to be strategic. This would be a good time to have a massive protest. But we want to note that when they're in line, they're readily available, right? Right? So it might be easier to get them to come and call it a protest. Nevertheless, how y'all do? What's going on, y'all? All right? What are we talking about this morning? I want to start by telling you that the power ship has arrived. Right? Power ship has arrived. I'm going to share a couple stories from Kaicho News. Let's start with the power ship arrival. As GPL still fixing site and finalizing rental of barge. Now all the ship could arrive and GPL is not ready. You know what that means? Our money is spending and we're not getting benefits as yet. The Turkish power ship contracted by the government to supply Guyana with some 36 megawatts of electricity for 2 years arrived on Wednesday. The Guyana Power and Light posted the news about the vessel's arrival on its Facebook page without any additional details. Car's Power, or Car Power Ship will be stationed at Everton, Bobby's Region 6, and will be interconnected with GPL's grid at 69 kV, and is expected to start delivering electricity to the country by May 8th. A contract for the ship was signed between the GPL and the UCI, a subsidiary of UCC Holdings, a company incorporated in the state of Qatar. UCC Holdings has a strategic alliance with Car Power Ship International, a Turkish company. President Mohammed Irfan Ali had told reporters that contracting the ship for 2 years is feasible to end Guyana's blackout crisis for now, until the US $2 billion and counting gas to energy project comes on stream. But to date, Guyana remains in the dark over the true cost for electricity from the vessel. Guyana had to pay a mobilization fee of $1 million US to get the ship here, and the contract, according to GPL, includes the provision of operation and maintenance services as part of the agreement. According to the utility company, in a public missive yesterday, the contract requires GPL to pay UCI a fee of $6.62 per kilowatt hour as a monthly charter fee for the power ship and a monthly operation and maintenance fee of 98 US cents per kilowatt hour based on electricity generated. A 36 megawatt capacity plant is expected to generate some 315,360,000 kilowatt hours per year, which would mean an annual bill of $2,087,683,200. This in addition to the 98 cents US maintenance fee will add an additional US $309,052,800 or cumulatively US $2,396,736. $2,396,736,000. This price, however, excludes fuel because based on the agreement signed, Guyana will have to supply that too. Member of Parliament David Patterson had claimed that based on his calculation, it will end up costing Guyana some US 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Right, so according to all the information available, Patterson say you are going to be paying about 30 cents US per kilowatt hour. Good. I have a viewer who has done some calculations and sent me those calculations. Good. According to him, well, he is basically saying that the cost that Jaguar said of US 13 to 14 cents per kilowatt hour does make sense. Right? Does make sense. And this is his calculation. He's saying that 36,000 kilowatt at 24 hours by 365 days, operating at 96% times 76 US cents per kilowatt hour for operation and maintenance costs will give us approximately 23 million US. By 2 years, that's approximately 46 million US. Fuel oil to power the generator. At global standards, you need 0.435 liters per 1 kilowatt hour. And that means 0.435 times 36,000 for 24 hours for 365 days, so 2 years. Operating at 96%, you're talking about 274,363,200 liters. At $1.20 US cents per liter, you're talking about 360 million US dollars. That's just for fuel. Hence, Jaguar's fuel cost number of 13 to 14 cents per kilowatt hour is misleading. The operating costs and maintenance is 46 million. Mobilization is 1 million. Fuel is about 360 million. Substation and transmission lines, nobody knows the cost of that as yet. Insurance and other operating costs, nobody knows the cost of that. So based on this calculation, this individual is saying that the total cost is approximately $370 million at today's fuel price of $1.20 US cent per liter. And of course, the costs that have not been included there, like the transmission lines and insurance. Now, his observation is that 370 million US can install 120 megawatt hybrid, right? And that is a combination of solar, wind, and tidal energy, renewable energy, plus storage. The solution he suggests, the government needs to create an electricity exchange, that is a commodity exchange, and encourage independent power producers to sell power to an independent regulatory renewable energy pool and let the market forces determine the electricity price consumers will pay. Simultaneously, they should start building the necessary smart grid while gradually dismantling the current inefficient and aged transmission system. So in the end, the individual is asking, where Jack Dale got this 13 to 14 US cents per kilowatt hour for fuel from? What really is the cost of the substation transmission line to accommodate the power ship? And what is the insurance and other costs? Let me tell you this. I don't know about those costs and so on, but I know several things. Number one, power ship or no power ship, we cannot expect uninterrupted power supply because that would be dependent on many other variables. For example, the state of the transmission network. Is our transmission network up to par to utilize the electricity that is going to be generated by the power ship? How much of that electricity generated by the power ship and supplied to the grid will we lose through transmission? We call it transmission loss. How much of that? My information tells me that GPL currently, without a power ship being connected to the grid, produces less than half of the required electricity needed in this society currently. So GPL is producing less than half of the required electricity for the continuous operation of the society, business and industry. So the hope is that this power ship is going to come and make a difference, right? Do you know currently large businesses or large consumers of electricity are taking off the grid in the afternoon hours and they have to generate their own electricity in order to ensure that there's no or to reduce the possibility of power outages in the evening. Are you aware of that? Well, that is happening. Let me also tell you that it is rumored that one of GPL's major contractors, maintenance contractors, situated on the East Coast, something and Sons, I think they bear a similar name to the former president, right? He's a line maintenance. They got a line maintenance company, I think, that does maintenance to GPL, emergency and so on. Line. It is rumored that the owner of that company was lined up or is lined up to take over operations at GPL Canefield substation or whatever they call it. Somewhere in Borby's there. And the only reason that takeover has not happened as yet is because somebody spilled the bean. And so they had to draw back. They had to pull back. And so when we are talking about the possibility of this government and their acolytes running GPL into the ground with the sole aim of saying that it's not functioning and so it needs privatizing so that people can get improved services and quality of services, it's not a far-fetched theory. It's not conspiracy theory. that is so far-fetched. There's a real possibility, that GPL is being set up for failure, for privatization, for transfer of the wealth into the hands of the friends and cronies of the PPP. You know what it is to own an electricity company? Nobody can go about their business on a daily basis without utilizing electricity. And so it means there's a ready market for it. And since GPL is the only certified, permitted, power company, only power company that is permitted to sell electricity to citizens in this country, it's a cash cow. Just like the 10% shares in GT&T that the government purportedly sold to some foreign investor. GPL is a cash cow. And so in as much as they're showing you it failing currently, the aim, as I understand it, is to get it to land into the hands of somebody, some friend, and some crony for the benefit of the mafia called the PPP. Right? And so let us stay woke. Let us focus on that. Let's not lose sight of that. That is happening. Right? That is happening. Let's pay attention to the money. The Wallet Tyrant tells us that, consumers will not have to pay more for electricity when this power ship comes. But does that mean that the nation is not paying more for electricity when this power ship comes? Huh? Talk to me. Does that mean that the nation is not paying more? The nation is certainly paying more. And so we have to be aware of that. We have to question that. We have to stay woke, like I said. Right? What else is happening? Everybody has been asking me recently to comment on 2 particular letters or 2 particular statements made in the local media and by extension the international media. Y'all know those statements? One came from German Figueroa. German Figueroa, as I remember, is the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. I hope I'm not wrong, but I seem to remember German Figueroa being the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. German Figueroa is also a Lindener. So he represents Linden, if you want to say that, on the opposition benches. I understand he's a teacher by profession. And some will say that he's an entrepreneur, he's a businessman, or he comes from a family that is engaged in the business scenery in Linden. Good? That is a background to German Figueroa. As a matter of fact, German Figueroa was the shadow minister for youth, sports, and culture. Sits in the National Assembly. He was a shadow minister for youth, sports, and culture. A few months ago, he was removed from that position. I would say Aubrey shook up the shadow cabinet. And so German Figueroa was removed from the position of shadow minister for youth, sports, and culture. And he was replaced with member of parliament, maybe the hardest working member of parliament on the opposition side, Flubes, Nima Flubes, the Mocha Queen. Right? Figueroa didn't take that kindly, as far as I remember. Didn't take it kindly. He had scathing criticisms for Aubrey Norton in the public. Y'all could go to the Demerara Waves. He criticized Aubrey Norton. As a matter of fact, the editor of the Demerara Wave, Dennis Chabral, good morning, Chabral, and Figueroa banged heads because Figueroa accused Chabral of misrepresenting what he said in response to a question on his removal as shadow minister by Aubrey Norton and so on. Good. I read some of those remarks. You might have read some of those remarks. You can go, like I said, to the Demerara Waves and look for that saga, if I can call it that. Figueroa Norton saga, reported in the Demerara Waves. Figueroa was also, all of this is background information because you have to understand when you're discussing certain issues, you have to have context. And so I'm giving you context. Figueroa was a representative in the coalition government. I can't remember exactly if he was parliamentarian, but I rather suspect he was a parliamentarian. I can't remember what other position he might have held in the coalition government, but he was definitely a representative of the coalition government for that 3-year, 5-year period, whatever it was. And when the government changed, the PPP operatives went for, as we like to say, went at, went out on a hunt for Figueroa's head, right? They really went hard at him to the extent that they accused him of, I don't want to say misappropriation of funds, misuse of funds. What might be the word here? They accused him of diversion of funds, perhaps. But what he was accused of was in relation to the SLED projects, the Sustainable Livelihood and Entrepreneurial Development Project, SLED. That project was managed under Amna Ali's Ministry of Social Services. It started under Bulkan's ministry. Remember when Ronald Bulkan was Minister of Communities? Yes, Minister of Communities. The fund was there, and some people were of the opinion that enough wasn't being done to activate the use of the fund. And so the fund was transferred to Amna Ali's ministry, the Ministry of Social Services. Good. And you will remember when the PPP came into office, they zoomed in, as we like to say, particularly on the use of that fund. They dragged Christopher Jones before the courts, accusing him of stealing barber chairs. Y'all remember that story? Christopher was arrested in the dark of night because they blocked out the entire area where Christopher Jones was living, and they went in and so on and so on. Good. In the same breath, in the same line of harassment, as I call it, they accused Jorman Figueroa, I think it was Jack Dio, as a matter of fact, who might have made direct statements accusing Figueroa of having what I always refer to as the most expensive style, pig pen as we commonly call it in Ghana, built in the history of this country. Figueroa was supposed to have sued Jack Dio. I can't remember if he did sue Jack Dio, but he had promised to sue Jack Dio. For the utterances, right? Jorman Figueroa wins libel writ and will give me some I'm seeing some other statements which I will share with you, right? But as I remember, and I'm talking about these things mostly from the top of my head here, I remember German Figueroa threatened to sue Jagdio because Jagdio had made statements accusing him in this quote-unquote pigsty matter. And the long and short of it is that German Figueroa was not the person. It was a Figueroa, but not German Figueroa, who was involved in that pig rearing project. Right? Yes, it was a pig rearing project, and the cost of the sty and so on was being questioned by Jagdio and the PPP operatives. Good? And so that's a background. When Aubrey Norton refused to shake Irfan Ali's hand, German Figueroa was out there again, and he made comments to the extent that, you know, he doesn't support that kind of stance, that kind of behavior, and so on, because it's civil. My words, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, as you see, right? It's civil. To shake a man's hand is a form of greeting. Many people argue that it is to that criticism, maybe among others, that Norton, quote unquote, punished Figueroa by removing him from the shadow minister's position. I don't know. I'm not in the head of Norton. I'm not in the head of Figueroa. But all of that is background information. And as I looked just now, I just Googled looking to see if indeed Figueroa was supposed to sue Jagdio. I came across this headline. It came from a Facebook post. Guyana Daily News had a headline, Figueroa not being engaged to join PPP. But Jagdio at a press conference earlier today as General Secretary. Earlier today, quote, as General Secretary, we've never had such engagement with Figueroa about joining the PPP, right? And that is about 3 months ago. So somebody must have suggested that the PPP was courting Figueroa to, as we say, switch allegiance, cross the floor. Jagdio's General Secretary is quoted as saying, we never had such a discussion with Figueroa. Good. So I think you have a lot of context here, a lot of background to understand who German Figueroa is. And so you can go and read his statements. I think it was a letter in the Chronicle, right? With more context and understand where he's coming from. In short, paraphrasing, Figueroa says in his letter, I don't support this call for boycott by Burke and the others in the US, North America, and so on, to boycott. And I think he said, all right, let me use the broad term, Guyanese businesses in the US. It's not going to do any good. Right? Long and short. Long and short. Now, everybody is entitled to his or her opinion. Let me give you my opinions. Everybody was quick to criticize Amnali for making statements via the Guyana Chronicle. So much so to the extent that the, anyhow, let me just say a lot of senior members of the PNC refer to her as being in the PPP camp now because she going to Guyana Chronicle to make disparaging remarks against the current leader of the opposition. I guess the same discourses are taking place about German Figueroa because his letter was published via the Guyana Chronicle. Are we to say that everybody who writes to the letter pages of the Guyana Chronicle, mind the Guyana Chronicle is the taxpayers' paper, it's Guyanese newspaper, albeit being misused by the PPP government. Are we to say everybody who writes to the Chronicle is a PPP? Or the PPP chooses, or the management of the Chronicle, the editor-in-chief chooses those letters and those articles which are in keeping with the PPP's agenda? I want to believe it's the latter. Editors will publish, editors are gatekeepers to information, and they will publish what suits them and suits the handlers. And one might conclude, therefore, that Jamin Figueroa just found himself in a trap. I learned, as a graduate of communication studies, no comment is a comment. And so even if you're approached to provide a comment on matters such as those, sometimes it's good to keep your trap shut. You can save yourself a lot of problems and anxiety. Do I believe Jamin Figueroa is jumping ship? It's human beings. People have jumped ship all over the year, all over the world. People have jumped ship. All over the world, people have changed allegiances. And so it's quite possible that Jamin Figueroa is heading in that direction. And why do I believe, or why am I saying it's quite possible that Jamin Figueroa is heading in that direction? Let me be rational. We have in this society, and perhaps in the Caribbean and maybe further afield across the world, people who have invested in the political process, in political activism. People have tasted the sweetness of power. In many instances, they don't want to give it up because it's sweet, it got perks and it got privileges. And for many people, right? For many people, when they taste that sweet, then they will endeavor to continue to enjoy that sweet. It's human. I'm not accusing Figueroa of any wrong here up until now. It's human. When you look at what is happening in the PPP, in the PNC scam, if you treat all of the things which I spoke about earlier, about Figueroa and Norton being at loggerheads, I can't say they follow. I can't say Norton is spiteful to Figueroa or vice versa. I think that claim was, as a matter of fact, made previously in that same Demerara wave saga. But I am not going to go there and say Norton is spiteful or has been, spiteful in his actions to Figueroa. I believe every leader has a right to reassign members of his or her team. Good. And so, but when you look at what is happening or what has been happening with Figueroa and Norton, one would come to the conclusion, at least I have come to the conclusion, that if Norton were to remain leader of the PNC and therefore becomes the PNC presidential candidate or even leader of the list for the PNC in the next elections, I don't believe the possibility exists that Figueroa will find himself on that list. And so if you don't find yourself on that list, it's obvious that you're not going to find yourself back in the National Assembly. Understand what I'm saying? Right? As a matter of fact, looking at the things are, the possibility is, even if Figueroa remain in good stead with Norton, we have Sharma Solomon and Vanessa Kissoon who are now back in the fold of the PNC. And so, looking down the line, I would think that on that list, you will find Vanessa Kissoon and Sharma Solomon ahead of a Jamin Figueroa. And so, I am saying the chances of Jamin Figueroa remaining on the PNC list and finding himself in the National Assembly following the next elections are very slim. I don't know if he's a vote getter in London. I can't tell you that. I can't tell you if he's a vote getter in London. I can't tell you that. But let's just assume that the PPP sees him as a vote getter and has therefore made approaches to him. You know, I don't know if you know, but I know. Every election cycle, the PPP tries to win over a couple of PNC popular people, well-known people, at least even if it's just for bragging rights. Right? And so maybe approaches, the possibility is, I'm not saying approaches have been made, I'm saying the possibility is approaches might have been made. The possibility is also maybe Figueroa is recognizing is quote-unquote diminishing value to the PNC. And so he's positioning himself as neutral in this instance. As neutral. I'm coming across as neutral. I'm not going to take the PNC side and PNC supporters side in the US and say boycott. I'm going to say boycott doesn't make any sense. It is hurting our people because it is our people's business that will be boycotted. Right? But there are those who will say, hey, those people whose businesses will suffer from these boycotts, while they look like us, they're not necessarily for us. Right? Skin folk is not necessarily kinfolk. And so they are in the quote-unquote enemies camp. They're scheming with the enemies for their personal gains at our expense. And so we don't mind boycotting them. We don't mind if they go under because they don't serve us any purpose anyhow. And so by extension, if German Figueroa is pleading their cause, people will naturally say, you just like them. You just like them. And since you're just like them, we ain't got used to you. We won't support you. We don't want to see you anywhere around what concerns us because you're inimical to our cause. And so I'm saying with those responses, Aubrey falling out or Aubrey saga, these statements and so on and so forth, maybe German is saying now, my value in the PNC is apparently diminishing. I'm still a young man. I have a lot to serve. I have a lot to give to this country by way of service. And I think I can better do that if I'm a part of the makeup of the government in the National Assembly. And so if I can't do it with the PNC, there's nothing that stops me from doing it with the PPP because it's my democratic right. Good? And so for those of you who have asked me to comment on this German Figueroa saga, that's why I'm calling it, because it started a while ago with him and Norton and handshake and reassignment in parliament and stuff like that. And it continues. Right? Those are my thoughts on the matter. Figueroa is entitled to his opinion. Others are entitled to disagree with his opinion. Figueroa might be right when he says these businesses will suffer from boycotts, right? Because if people don't support them, they will suffer, they will go under. He might be right when he says black people business, they're going to suffer in this instance. But others are also right when they say these black people don't serve us, they're inimical to our cause. And the saying is, a friend of my enemy is my enemy. And so the way things look, it would appear as though somewhere along the line, I think there will be a disconnect between Figueroa, the PNC, and the PNC supporters. Those are my thoughts. Right? Garfield Crawford is saying you should not have said say anything. Garfield Crawford is saying, in other words, I should not comment on it. But I come here and I comment on every damn thing. I speak for sun and I speak for rain. And if I can, quote unquote, analyze and talk about other people, why can't I talk about people who are supposed to be serving us? People who are enjoying, quote unquote, privileges because of our support. Why can't I? Why shouldn't I? It's a democracy. Right? And so I come to the other thing. Which people have asked me to comment on. And that is the regional vice chairman, Samuel Sandy, commenting on the same issue in the same newspaper and making similar points. Boycotting people's businesses downright stupid. Boycotting the businesses in the US is stupid. It is going to create a further rift among our people. Right? And if I decide to analyze, I'm going to say many of the things that I said about Figueroa are also true of Samuel Sandy. Maybe the public is not aware, but I think the public is aware because the public ought to have been made aware that Samuel Sandy was suspended from the Central Committee of the PNC. He was a member, or still is a member of the, he is a member of the Central Committee of the PNC, but he's a member on suspension. My investigation, because I like check before I talk, my investigation is that he has been suspended for what I consider an inordinately long time. So I asked when I inquired, you mean he was suspended, but wasn't it a suspension given a specific time period? Shouldn't it have been a 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 month, 6 month, 1 year suspension? What time frame is attached to the suspension? All these people could tell me is that he's on suspension. And I remember he was on suspension since, if you ask me in my head, no, I was a boy. So again, here is one of the quote unquote PNC bigwig, because as regional vice chairman, you're bigwig. Left out in the cold because he is not operating at the level of the CC where he is a member because of suspension. So he's just out there in the wilderness. As I like to say, in purgatory. There's a purgatory is somewhere between earth and heaven, or earth and hell. You're in purgatory. And so Samuel is there, Sandy is there in purgatory. Doesn't know whether to go left or whether to go right. Whether or not he's going to have a place on the list again in the near future when election comes, dependent on who is head of the list and all of that. And he is yet a young man. I don't know if he and Figueroa, they might be about the same age, but they're young men and they're full of life and they have a lot to offer the society, at least so they would think. And so if I can't do it through the PNC, why not do it through some other political allegiance? Right? Maybe I don't have to join the PPP, I can join the Civic, because there's the PPP and there's the Civic, and the two of them combined like APNU and AFC. Maybe I can join the Civic and I can get to deliver. Right? But it serves, and this is what is important, it serves the PPP cause for the Chronicle to publish opinions by Samuel Sandy and by Figueroa and by Amna Ali, and by extension any PPP, any PNC known senior party member, or bigwig as I like to call them. It benefits the PPP and the Chronicle to publish opinions that are not favorable to the PNC in the Guyana Chronicle. And it is something that these youngsters, let me call them that because they're younger than I am, these youngsters ought to keep at all times in the forefront of their minds. Anything I say to a Guyana Chronicle reporter can be twisted and used against my party. And if I'm looking out for the well-being of my party and its constituents, then it's best to say no comment, because no comment is a comment. And so I think two of our young men, young leaders of the PNC, have found themselves in somewhat of a bind, somewhat of a jam. They definitely are at loggerheads with the current leadership of the PNC. And maybe that anxiety which has resulted from them being at loggerheads is also making them irrational in terms of the paths they are traveling. Those are my comments on these two particular matters. The lines are opened. 6225933 is the number to call. Right? I hope nobody has interpreted this, because it's a problem we got in this society. When you talk about things and you analyze issues, people see it as attacking them. Right? I hope none of these young men have interpreted what I said as me attacking them, because I have no interest in attacking anybody. I have no malice to anybody. What I want to see is good governance, fair governance, and public officials held accountable. And of course, I expect people to behave responsibly. Caller, your life. Caller, your life.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki and viewers everywhere. How y'all doing?
Have you turned the device down or off?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, Kadaki, man, thank you so much for all the hard work you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job, you and the WPA. Now, I am so disappointed in the number of opposition representatives that show a profound lack of understanding of this struggle. They fail to connect the dots. It tells me they've learned nothing from the 2020 elections and how the oppressors use the PR machinery by hiring a consultancy firm to lobby, a lobbying firm to lobby congressmen favorable to them in order to pressure, to forge regime change. The whole idea of boycott is to undermine the PR machinery of the regime. Yes, a few businesses who exhibit a callous disregard for the struggle, when they face boycott, yes, some people will be hurt. Boycott is not without cost. But that is exactly the point. The point is to allow a few to suffer, to prevent the continuous suffering of the many. That's the concept of boycott. Boycott is not without cost, but we are saying it's okay. If we who understand what boycott does, say yes, allow boycott to pressure a few businesses to change their behavior, so that they no longer become pawns for the oppressors to use to enhance their propaganda shield. So that, because when they do that, it makes it so much harder for sanctions and other measures to be deployed against the regime, because they provide cover. These businesses, what they're doing more harm than good. Whatever good that they're doing to the community is far outweighed by the harm they are causing when they allow themselves to be used as a propaganda shield. They're hurting many, far more. If they help a few hundred people, thousands more are suffering continuously as a result of their inimical and stupid actions, and they must be held accountable. We got to stop them, because this is the MO of the oppressor. That's how they're able to continuously suppress and hurt the Black community. So we will continue boycotting, and I hope that the boycott message catches on in the homeland, in Guyana, where it is badly needed. Can you imagine what kind of outcome it would be if people start to boycott? That's why I love you guys, Kadaki, in the WPA, because you understand the struggle. You understand the fundamental issues and what it takes to put the regime on their back feet. And I remember when y'all called for civil disobedience. The opposition is failing. These are the guys that, in our camp. They're not really pushing that narrative. It's only one faction of the opposition pushing the narrative of fight. Is the WPA. So thanks again, Kadaki, and you keep doing what you're doing. We're with you, and we're gonna win this fight. All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you for your call. Yes, like I said before, I don't have a fear of calling for boycott and myself boycotting people's businesses and so on. Because at the end of the day, if you don't empower me and you're disempowering me, I have to take a stance. Right? We can't, when people say you can't take shame out here and shake Kokobe man hand because he's going to come back to haunt you. Right? Not take pride and shake Kokobe man hand. Have you ever heard that? That's a statement that I grew up hearing. And in translation, it simply says, if you know something is going to harm you, then recognize it for that and don't put pride in front. Good? Joining the PPP to make certain statements, or friends of the PPP to make certain statements, will harm your political future among African Guyanese. That's, I think, should be a known fact. And so the wise thing to do is to shut up. Don't say anything. Don't let it set you up. Right? But a lot of our leaders, a lot of people who call themselves leaders for the Black nation or among the Black nation, got in their heads that Black people are so forgiving and Black people are so loving and Black people are so God-fearing and so on that they could do them anything. They could trample them and all. They could slap them and they're going to turn the next cheek. But there comes a time when people get to the point where they ain't able with the nonsense anymore. And your action, as small as it may be, might be the action, or as they say, might be the straw that broke the camel's back. And in this period when Black people have seen so much suffering under this PPP, and apparently they're seeing no light at the end of the tunnel with the PPP continue with the nonsense. You put yourself at risk as a political person. If you only appear, you don't have to support them, you only appear to be supportive of them. You put yourself at serious political risk. Caller, your life.
Yeah, good morning to Daki and everybody else. Well, yesterday I was at the rally. Anyway, at the rally there was a banner, a little placard that highlighted the salaries of some of the medical workers in Guyana. The doctors, the staff nurses, midwives, and the nursing assistant. Now the emoluments that were on that placard was the money that these workers get before it is being taxed. $360,000 for a doctor. Staff nurse midwife, $207,675. The midwife, $144,000, 500 and something. And the nursing assistant, $122,600 and something. Now in the staff nurse, the midwife, and the nursing assistant, you have to extract $8,000 from those monies because that is the meals allowance that is added in. Now from that money, that is the thing that is gross, starting at the pay slip. That is what is being given. So when you deduct all the things like PAYE, NIS, what's every pay now? God, my time was PAYE, NIS, with the 1 hour funds. You got to study what is being left for each nurse. Now the install regime wants to bring in nurses from outside, giving them $1,000 US free housing, and all the allowances will be added on. I could remember in 1990, I can't remember the direct year, when the nurses strike, the big strike that we had. We asked for risk allowance and night premiums, along with increased meals allowance. To date, risk allowance and night premiums were never added to the nurses' salaries. Now when the doctors, most of the doctors working, got to work a 40-hour work week. And with all the requirements is 40 hours. Doctors who are working at health centers got to leave health centers after working from 8 to 4 o'clock and go to the hospital sometimes 2 or 3 nights a week and work the night shift. So a doctor now is working for more than 40 hours a work week, to which they are not being paid for the extra services that they provide. Now when a person goes to work and you work for 8 hours, you're on the beat for this 8 hours. But anytime you go over the 8 hours, tiredness step in, and you cannot be alert as though you work just an 8-hour shift. So now ask yourself, what are the doctors going through in Guyana for the small amount of money? From the $360,000, the doctors have got to pay all the different taxes on their money. So ask yourself, what a doctor who goes abroad and trains for 5, 6, 7 years is being given in this oil-rich country. Now you moved on, you're talking about this
Wonder what's your time?
People. Oh, just I'm coming off. These young people go into jobs like Figueroa and them. And when they get in, you got to get your little money, put it to good use. Because no job, once you're hired, you could be fired. And what people got to make up the mind. When you go into a job, use the opportunity that today or tomorrow you're asked to leave or demit office. You must show something for the time that you are working. But if you take your money and you wait it out one different, I wouldn't call the words them on the show. I respect myself and you will run into things like that. And what they have got to know, that once they go over to the PPP, look at the other black people, talking from Henry Jeffrey right away down to the modern day black people in the PPP. They are just window dressing, and they are there to capture more stupid black people to follow them, and they will still not have a proper life. They will not be respected. Boycott it is, boycott will go. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. It's 27 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. It's the 2nd of May. You're tuned to Guyanese morning time. Let me tell you that if you want food or anything delivered on the East Coast, you can call the East Coast delivery guy. Right? He works from 11, I think, in the day up to about 8:30 at nights. Right? The East Coast delivery guy. You can get him on telephone 694-9248. One and Move delivery services. Right? One and Move delivery services. So check him out. 638-9135 is the other number. You can get him on WhatsApp. Right? Good. Just support small business. We like to talk about supporting small business. So I'm encouraging you to support that small business there. Reliable, chat. Reliable. I think that's enough to see. Let me see. I think I saw, yes, there's a voice note. Let me play it.
Good morning, Kadaki. I just feel that Jatio's intention is to bankrupt that country. He has a feeling now, he knows that he will not be there next election. So he's bankrupting that country, making that country ungovernable. When whosoever takes over, look what is going on in Guyana. Road building and destroying within weeks. Look at that ship, that power ship. How much billions of dollars Guyanese has to pay. They see some crankshaft destroy at Greenfield Power Plant. Do you know what is a crankshaft? Do you know what a crankshaft is? For a crankshaft to break? That sounds so impossible. That sounds like sabotage. That is probably the strongest part of any engine. Solidest steel, metal. You understand me? I'm talking about Figueroa. They should not allow him to jump no ship. They should throw him off the ship and let him go his way. Bye.
Thank you for your voice note. You know, I got a way of saying once you're hired, you can be fired. And if you're hired by way of the political party, winning certain seats and so on, then you could be fired. I got a different view of politics. I always say that being involved in a political party, being involved in political activism and so on, should not be the beginning and end of all. You can't base your life strictly on political activism. Because at the end of the day, there was life before politics and there will be life after politics. If you have the opportunity to enjoy life during politics, so be it. What? Missed that one. I have a comment there by Ali Majid. Ali Majid said Prime Minister Hines and Mark Phillips, with roots in Linden, were unable to gain votes from the for the PPP. Figueroa is even more unlikely to win votes. Right? I guess he was responding to me saying, I can't say whether or not Figueroa is a vote getter. But what I can say is that Figueroa comes from a different generation. Figueroa is from a different generation to Phillips and Hines. Carly is supposed to mute your mic when you call the program, man.
Sorry.
Right? Figueroa comes from a different generation, and we like to say this generation is get rich quick or die trying. And so there's nothing to say that if, this is a supposition now, if Figueroa were to be convinced that he should join the PPP, there is nothing to say that the PPP will not give him enough resources that might influence votes in Linden. Right? And you know what I'm talking about. Call it life.
Yes, good morning to that, and good morning to our listeners. Now, I want to say quickly, when Bart talked about Figueroa, the Figueroa issue, something went down. That's my belief. Something went down because Bharat is a liar, right? And there's a whole saying says that every lie got some truth in it. I can remember when Bharat said, before the no confidence motion, he said, oh, we have to get one more person to vote on our side for the no confidence motion to pass against the government. And so we have to get one more person from that side, but I don't know who going to be that person. They had already known who's going to be that person. So this thing is not something we take lightly. Look at the other story with James Bond and them. As long as you, so my thing is, as long as you supporting a side and you start throwing stones on the same house that you live in, I ain't taking you lightly anymore. I ain't taking you lightly anymore. And the word of God said we should purge the evils from among us. Purge them out. Purge them out. Let me know where we stand with and what we're going with. We don't need this kind of thing in the camp. You know what I mean? Thank you and good morning.
Thank you for your call. It's 21 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam.
Comes out your son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them out no kind. comes, I say them heart not kind.
Mama, I dedicate this song to you. Wherever you day, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Show Mama the love and adoration she deserves. Celebrate Mother's Day at Club Twilight with a special brunch for all the wonderful mothers. Enjoy a festive atmosphere, complimentary cocktails, and surprises starting from 11 a.m. Club Twilight, Sideline Lamb, Buxton North. Call 6225933 and don't miss the opportunity to show Mama how much you love her.
Guyana like that.
Call your life.
Kadoki, good morning, and all the viewers. I saw Glenal viewing a Palestinian woman come to work in Guyana. What's going on? Guyanese ain't got no position. They bring in Bangladesh nurse, Indian nurse, so the Palestinian woman for to teach. That is all I called to say. Thank you.
Thank you. When I was at secondary school, I had a teacher from Sri Lanka, Miss Philip Neri. She was good. I always admired her accent, Philip Neri. But at that time, Guyana had serious teacher shortage. Those days, we used to employ part-time teachers and all kinds of things, right? My concern with this government right now is, I don't care who gets an opportunity to work in Guyana. But Guyanese must get the first opportunity. You only go outside and look for foreign nationals, the skills of foreign nationals, if you don't have the skills locally. And if you currently don't have the skills locally and you have to go for foreign nationals to fill the gap, you must have a system in place of technology transfer or skill transfer. That is, you must align your people, your citizens, to be so trained so that in a couple of years' time, they can start to occupy those jobs which foreign nationals are currently occupying because you don't have the skill set. My problem in this society is no. Even when the skill is available, because it doesn't look like a certain set of people, it doesn't speak like a certain set of people, it doesn't behave like a certain set of people, it doesn't have the color tone of a certain set of people, it can't be employed. That's where my problem is. And I think that is what a lot of Guyanese have a problem with. That is why people are calling consistently and saying, they're bringing Bangladeshi nurses, they're bringing Pakistanis this. Excuse me, they're bringing Sri Lankan that. Because people know that we have skills here, or skilled people, willing to work but are not getting employed. And I think I would have explained prior why Guyanese are not employed or engaged in certain aspects of this economy. Because the corruptors have too much to protect. It's hardly that a Sri Lankan would want to be a whistleblower to the Guyanese media if they work in certain positions and they see certain things. But a Guyanese has relatives and friends and family and so on, and connections. And so they might be faster to blow the whistle. Right? It is how a kleptocracy operates. What do? In the US, I know, and I don't know, I read that in the US, you don't, if you're not unionized, you can't go on certain union sites to work because they will shut the site down. How about Guyanese shutting down some sites when Guyanese don't get to work and foreign nationals are allowed to work? How about that? Sometimes you just have to take proactive actions. Voice note.
Morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Morning, viewers. This man Figueroa, did he come out against the PPP when they closed down the nursing school in Linden? A school that's yet to be built, but yet the powers that be that got $3 million to build this school, the taking away of the cricket grounds. Did he come out? Did he form a protest against the PPP for that? Boy, you ain't ready. You ain't ready at all.
morning, Mr. Kadaki and the listening viewers. I have to make a short comment. Pertaining to Figueroa and the other guy, I mean, it's just assuming that they've been participating in these activities. We don't have proof. But with me, if I have to dead and rotten before I cross over to the PPP, so be it. And these guys, whosoever need to do that nonsense, they're not studying, they're not thinking about their generation and the future kids and grand behind. The PPP is a dictator and a oppressor to Black Guyanese. And lo and behold, I would not, even if I have to suck salt, I would not go in the PPP camp. Look at what they do, Mark Phillips and Polori Joe, and that big stupid one, Roxanne, we name Ben, the Home Affairs Minister. They even not recognize. And another thing I want to say, we have to know what we're doing, especially with this T. Mohammed guy. A vote for T. Mohammed is a vote for A-Fund. That's my contribution. Guyanese have to be more wise. Have a blessed day.
Breaking news. Hey, I just got information. I was trying to get it all the time, you know. I only know where the food was cooking and so on. And the abuse of state resources continue. Because I was just informed that the PPP's Congress is being held at the Guyanese School of Agriculture. PPP's Congress is being held at the Guyanese School of Agriculture. State facilities. But you know what? It's not held on a weekend when the children have gone home for the weekend. It's being held all through the week. Them send home all them picnic. The students of the Guyanese School of Agriculture have been sent home. All of them. Them send them home so that they could utilize the facility for hosting Congress. If that is not an abuse of power, if that is not an abuse of state resources, you all tell me what is. Call your life.
Yeah, bless good morning, Mr. Kadaki, and the rest of the Guyanese nation was in and out of the diaspora. God bless us. Mr. Kadaki, we Guyanese are not really annoyed that far. Guyanese know they cannot trust this PPP government. You can't trust them in any way. They are deceitful. And what they be able to go out is evil. A government supposed to be building a nation. The PPP government is breaking up and destroying this nation. That is opposite. And to my friend, Mr. Figueroa, as a leader, you gotta know when to speak, how to speak, where to speak, and to whom you're speaking to. There's time and place for everything. Jackie Classic tell you, you can do something or say something that's right, but say it at the wrong time. If the time is wrong, it both out of line. If the place is wrong, it both out of line. I mean, you're your own big man. You're free to speak and say what you want. But remember, there's a nation that looks on. And not everybody is your follower, going to be your follower. Remember, people looking at fruits. Because the word of God said, by the fruits you just know. And that kind of fruit didn't produce a nice kind of substance. I mean, we got all kind of fruit. Some sweet, some bitter, some all kind of, well, that fruit that you had produced was not too nice. And this is where Guyanese become timid in certain way because we cannot trust, and I'm not speaking about Mr. I'm speaking about in general. We Guyanese nation, we cannot trust this PPP government, and especially the African race. Y'all take one and those y'all who are cross over there, It's just a trap for getting vote. When they get that vote, sorry for y'all. You know the song, sorry for Magadan, turn wrong by Joe. That is exactly the image of the PPP government. That's the image of Mr. Jack Dio and the land and all of them. Look and see what they are doing to this nation. Our teacher, they are fighting our teacher head to toe. They are fighting our teacher in every angle that they can go. They are fighting our teacher just for a cost to live, a proper life to live. That's what they're fighting the teacher for. A salary improvement, what they know to themselves, the teachers being underpaid. And if they can do that to our teachers, imagine what happens with our young children then. There's so many young children falling apart. There's a gap coming between the younger children and the older ones. And then they want to scatter, divide, and rule. So they're going to use this nonsense and born by a different thing to trap the younger generation to remain in ignorance, and so that they can dominate. I'm calling again, and especially my African brothers, those who are saying they're leaders or call themselves leaders, put away this petty mentality and behavior. This is the time the enemy can sow the seed of thorn and thistle into your camp. You got to be very calm as a dove and wise as a serpent. Resist this evil. Resist this wickedness. Guyanese cannot take another 5 years of this ago. Guyanese, I personally can't take another 5 years of this nonsense. And I know for God's sake, the word of God says anything good being pushed beyond could become bad. Anything good being pushed beyond, as the Bible says, can become bad. I'm warning this government. Stop pushing this Guyanese nation. Stop pushing those who are righteous, minor righteous, hearted people in this nation. It is not a good example to be set in. And I'm calling again on those who are voting, who will be voting, will be eligible for vote if it reaches to the stage. Y'all do not vote for this government, or else can't eat them. All of y'all, you know, I had children, you know, and I had children, you know. Mr. Kadaki, God bless you. God bless this program. We're going to get there by the grace of God. But we must resist the evil and fight tooth and nail against all evil. Have a blessed day, Guyana.
Thank you for your call. Point of correction. The deliberations to the Congress are being held at the Convention Center. Delegates to the Congress are being housed at GSA. So it's not one state facility being misused, it's two. Right? I wonder if they're paying the rental for the Artichon Convention Center. Somebody could find out, you know. Do you think they're paying the rental? You see that big building there with AC and all of that? Do you know what the operation cost is daily? Guyanese foot in that bill. Guyanese foot in that bill. Voice note.
Morning, Mr. Kadaki and the listening viewers. I have to make a short comment. Pertaining to Figueroa and the other guy, I mean, it's just assuming that they've been participating in these activities. We don't have proof. But with me, if I have to dead and rotten before I cross over to the PPP, so be it. And these guys, whosoever need to do that nonsense,
our people are easily divided because of greed and because of money. Right? And there's no sort of uniting, we will be united. Okay? The PPP got problems in their camp, you know. But nobody jumping shit, nobody's taking because, you know, we're getting a sweet on it. But on the other side now, we're fighting among ourselves for power. You know, before we stick hold one head and do what we gotta do, we just decide to jump ship. But at the end of the day, I experienced it.
ExxonMobil out with first quarter results.
But at the end of the day, no good one is a good one, right? not even when they're dead. I heard that growing up since I was a little boy. So I'm so sorry for our people. I don't think we people could unite in no time soon. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your call. It's 5 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. And you're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm sure we didn't bring it to you first, but we're bringing it anyhow. Listen to this.
The first quarter, that was shy of the consensus estimate of 220. Revenue did beat expectations, though, at $83.1 billion. And joining us right now for an exclusive interview is Darren Woods. He's ExxonMobil's chairman and CEO. And Darren, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Good morning, Becky. Good to be here.
So why don't you talk a little bit about what happened during the quarter? The stock is off by about 1.4%. Revenue was stronger than anticipated, but the earnings per share was below what the street was looking for.
Well, if you look at the business and our operations, they delivered exactly in line with our plan. In fact, in some cases, they outperformed. You can see that in our cash flow from operations, which exceeded consensus by about $1 billion. The miss the street had for our earnings are a function of some non-cash tax and inventory adjustments, which we tend to see quarter on quarter occasionally, and this quarter they happen to stack up. But we feel really good about the operations and what the business is delivering.
One of the highlights that you point out is the gross production numbers that you're seeing now in Guyana. 600,000 oil equivalent barrels a day there. I mean, that has turned out to be a hugely important stake for you.
Yeah, it's, I think, a great example of the capability of this organization and each of the different sectors coming together, our technology company, operations company, our projects company coming together to make these things possible. We deliver these projects at an industry-leading pace. We deliver them ahead of schedule, below budget. And when we bring them on, the operations team start optimizing, and we tend to reset what we think is possible and very safely raise the production to a point where we are now running those three ships, those production units at a rate higher than what we made the investment decision on. So extremely proud of that. Of course, we've got 3 more in the works I feel really good about. So this is a tremendous example of what the organization is capable of doing.
But the production that you've seen in Guyana is, I'm sure, part of the reason that you're involved now in this arbitration with Chevron. Chevron wants to buy Hess. Hess is a 30% partnership in that deal with you. You guys have a 45% stake in it. What's the arbitration over, and what do you think is likely to happen here?
So I think great context for that discussion. And if you look at Guyana and the development there, I think it will go down as one of the best deep water developments in the history of the industry. So a lot of value that's been created through the hard work of the partners, but specifically with our engineering organization and our projects organization. So understand why Chevron's interested in participating in such an attractive development. The partnership that exists today is run or defined by a joint operating agreement. That agreement gives existing partners rights when there are changes in controls. The Chevron Hess transaction ignored those rights. We're standing up for the rights to make sure that we protect the value that we've created there, to make sure we understand what the Guyana assets, the value of those assets are in the Chevron Hess transaction, and make sure that we have a line of sight to how best to optimize value for our shareholders.
I'm sure you understand Chevron's position. I'm sure they've explained it to you. They are saying that there's a Hess subsidiary that won't change, and they think that that is enough to satisfy what they're calling a contract language dispute. That they think is something that's routinely put in and usually is not taken up by the other partners. How is this different, and how do you think it'll play out?
Well, I am familiar with their argument and their interpretation. We wrote the JOA, so we have a pretty clear line of sight as to the intent and the circumstances that apply, and the language that applies to these circumstances. So we feel pretty confident in our interpretation. And frankly, that's the point of the arbitration. The JOA allows for that. It's understandable that partners from time to time can have a different interpretation of that. We'll take it through the arbitration process, and we'll let the facts speak for themselves.
Would you put in a bid yourself if arbitration allowed you to do that? You guys are still caught up with Pioneer Natural Resources trying to digest that major acquisition. Would you have the money to go ahead and try and put a bid in for these assets as well?
I've made it clear in the past that, this is not a play for Hess. We're not interested in a transaction on Hess. This is really around protecting the value that we've created as part of that development, making sure that the preemption rights that we believe exist in the JOA are recognized and confirmed, and then understand what the value they're putting on that asset is, and then what the options are to maximize the value to your shareholders. So
what does that mean? I'm sorry, just to dig into it, does that mean you're not looking to buy Hess outright, but you would be looking to buy these assets, or you just want to be compensated and maybe push for a higher deal for those assets where you guys are compensated as well?
I think there are a lot of options on the table, Becky. I'm not limiting myself to any one. We're going to look and see what the cash value of that. First of all, we'll confirm the rights of preemption, and then we'll look to see what the cash value of this asset is within that transaction, and then we'll explore the opportunities that are available to us.
Darren, while you're here, definitely want to talk to you about what you're seeing in the demand for oil these days. We've gotten a few concerning numbers. That GDP number that was below expectations yesterday. There was a lower than expected manufacturing index number.
Did you have 600,000 barrels a day? Has your government reported that to you? I saw Miranda came out from under the rock. Aye, boy, you just got no for built a stone to get them from out under the rock. So Miranda wants to know why I'm concerned about where Congress is being held. For the very things that I've said. You know what I said? Taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money. Artichon Convention Center is part of the assets of Guyanese. Prove to me that the PPP is paying for it, to use it for Congress. Guyana School of Agriculture, where the students have been sent home from the dorms to host delegates of the conference, is Guyanese assets. It's disrupting the children's, the learners' education. That is why I'm concerned. Outside of that, for all I care, the PPP could carry its Congress in the cemetery like Ali went into the cemetery. But so long as it's infringing on the rights of our children, on the rights of learners, on the assets of the Guyanese people, I have to be clear. I have to be concerned. Don't you think I should? I'll have a good day. It's 3 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Blessed love. Have a great day. Stay safe. Start ordering those tickets to Mother's Day brunch. They're affordable. Only $6,000, $30 US. Right? And you're going to have a fun time at Club Twilight on Mother's Day. Lots of giveaways, complimentary cocktail, and so on and so forth. Come enjoy. Don't let Born Boy carry your money while the PPP try to deceive you.
Mama, I dedicate this song to you. Wherever you day, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Show Mama the love and adoration she deserves. Celebrate Mother's Day at Club Twilight with a special brunch for all the wonderful mothers. Enjoy a festive atmosphere, complimentary cocktails, and surprises starting from 11 a.m. Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call 6225933 and don't miss the opportunity to show Mama how much you love her.
Miranda is asking me about going to LBI to see what development is taking place there. Miranda, when you give me a spreadsheet and show me how the lands have been allocated there, I will go. They says 1 Afro-Guyanese to every 8 Indian. 1 Afro-Guyanese to every 8 Indo-Guyanese. When you provide the data to me, I will go. Also, when you can show us how the lands are back of Ogle, don't think we have eyes on those. When you can tell us who owns the development projects that are going on at the back of Oval, you can ask me to go anywhere. Right? You think we know what's going on down there? We know what's going on. We're paying attention. But like I said, I want to give me the authority. I want the power. Let the power fall on I, for I. Let the power fall on I. Everyone y'all don't collect Guyanese taxpayers' assets. That's what I want. I want to be the anti-corruption czar. I want to run y'all down. Because y'all are set of criminals, crooks and criminals. This is what we're going out with. I'll have a good day.
Oh, let the power fall on I, for I. Let the power fall on I. Oh, let the power from Zion fall on I. Let the power fall on I. Oh, give I justice, peace and love, for I. Give I justice, peace and love. Tell I how long will the wicked reign, for I. Give I justice, peace and love. So let the power fall on I, for I. Let the power fall on I. Oh, let the power from Zion fall on I. Let the power fall on I. So let the power fall on I, for I. Let the power fall on I. Oh, let the power from Zion fall on I. Let the power fall on I. Oh, let the wicked burn in flames, for I. Let the wicked